Git and GitHub. They're actually, I'm not going to talk too long about it, just going to kind of go through what Git and GitHub is, and maybe some basic commands for Git. Git and GitHub are both pretty big topics. I found that in a lot of tutorials and a lot of things, they tend to be like put to the side and, oh yes, do this too. But then when you get to a job, it's actually quite a bit of something to know. So there is quite a bit of tutorials and things about Git. I would suggest to learn those. It is helpful. So let's start with what is Git and GitHub. Git is a free and open source distributed version control system designed to handle everything from small to large projects with speed and efficiency. That was copied, I think, from GitHub's website. So it's a version control system. What does that mean? That means we are using Git to keep track of what versions we have. As we code along, we are saving like a snippet in time of what we've coded so that later, if we need to, we can go back. It helps keep everything in an order so that you can go back, especially if you're working with other team members. But it is also very helpful, even when you're working with yourself, to be able to pay attention to where you're at, so that when you get down the road and you go, oh, I just made some big mistakes, I want to go back to what I had before, you can do that. It makes it very easy. So GitHub is not the same as Git. GitHub is a development platform inspired by the way you work. From open source to business, you can host and review code, manage projects, and build software alongside 28 million developers. So in GitHub's description of themselves, they basically say this is a place to manage your code together. So this is how I like to think about it. So if Git was something similar to like a Word document, right? As you type your Word document, you might type it on your computer in Microsoft Word. Maybe you'd use Pages if you type on a Mac, but in general, you are coding it on your own computer. Nobody else is seeing that. You type something in your Word doc, you save. That's kind of like Git. It's on your own computer in your own project. Now, GitHub, on the other hand, is more like Dropbox or Google Drive. So when we say, I have this document that I'm typing up here in Word, but now I want to share it with everybody, I want somebody else to work on it with me, I'm going to put it in the cloud. So GitHub is like your cloud system, like Dropbox or something that would host your Git and host your versions of your code that you want to share with other people. GitHub is the vast majority of it, but not all of it, but a lot of it is open source, so that other people can collaborate openly with the code. But it's also, there's a lot of people who use it for their company, and they use it privately, and so then it's just shared within the company. But it is for primarily for collaboration, just like Dropbox. And so just like if you're using Word and you could upload it to Dropbox, you could upload it to Google Drive, Box. There's a lot of different competitors. GitHub also has a lot of competitors. Bitbucket, GitLab, those are similar to GitHub. They're cloud-based areas where we can share our code and put our code together. So let's talk a few terms that you're going to hear when talking about Git and GitHub. First, you'll hear the word repo or repository. Repo is just short for repository. It's the collection of files and folders that make up a project. So for us, we're taking our DjangoFest, Django Girls repo and folders, and we're putting them on GitHub. And we're doing that, why we're putting them on GitHub to share them in the cloud is so that we can share it with Python anywhere, so that it will host our project. You'll also hear, and you'll hear this a lot with command line as well. You'll hear the word or the term directory. The directory is the same thing as a folder. So on your normal computer, you would say, I'm going to open a folder and put files in the folder. We just say we're going to put files in our directory. Same thing. So a few Git commands we'll go through. I want to mention here, because this is also could be some confusion through this tutorial, and a lot of times you'll see Git done in the command line. And I do suggest that you learn Git in the command line. I think it's super helpful, but also know that there's other areas where you can interact with Git in VS Code or some of the other code editors. They have some Git interfaces. There's some ones, I think, Git desktop on Windows that you can use. There's a bunch of different ones, but the commands we're going through are going to be primarily ones that you would put in your terminal, but they work anywhere, if that makes sense. Git init is where you start. When you don't have Git in your repo or in your folder of your project, you would start with Git init, and it's just going to create Git in the repository you're in. Get status is the one that I use all the time. It's by far my favorite one because it just gives you an overview of where things are at. Is the file staged, which is like ready to be committed? Are they unstaged? Are they untracked, meaning haven't been added to Git yet at all? When you have coded and you're saying, I'm ready to commit, your commit's one of the next ones, but commit's kind of like a save or a snapshot that you're going to take. When you're ready to do that, you want to git add and add all of your changes to being staged is what it's called. But you just want to add all your changes, say, these are all the changes that I'm getting ready to commit or save. Commits is a staged snapshot. When you do get commit, it will open either Vim in your terminal or it may open your text editor, depends, and you could type a message. If you just typed the -m flag, it lets you put a commit message right there, and that's a little bit easier. So get commit -m is usually what you'll want to do there. And then you can get push, and push is just like it sounds. We're pushing it from our computer up to GitHub into the cloud. So that takes the commit or the save that we just did and pushes it up so that we could share it with other people, or in this instance, share it with Python Anywhere. So that is just a very brief overview of Git and how it works. There's a whole lot more, and like I said, I would suggest there's tons of free resources out there for learning Git. I would suggest that you read those and go through those some more. So those of you who didn't see me earlier, I'm Cassie Koelsch. You can find me anywhere at Cassie Koelsch. So thank you.